Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, hold on tight. You're in for one crazy, epically cool, and amazing ride tonight on the Josh Nolan and Oliver Schultz Full Throttle Racing Show, hashtag one on YouTube. With us tonight is racing sensation out of the Midwest, Gage Hilgenberg. Welcome to the show, Gage.
Hi.
So, Gage, let's talk about your racing career. Where did it all start for you?
It started at a little small racetrack in Iowa near Knoxville. I'm sure all the people watching know where that's at. Which it's just a little tiny go-kart track. I raced little I forgot what they were called, but they're just little go-karts. And at that time my dad was racing a modified.
Okay, so Gage, when you strapped into the car, your race car for the first time, what was that experience like for you?
Um, I was kind of scared a little bit. Like it was a little different than some of my other cars, but like I got used to it after a little bit.
Okay, so Gage, how long before the success started rolling in with you and your racing team?
Uh, well, it took a few races and then started getting the car dialed in, started feeling the car a little bit better, got the setups right and stuff, and I started doing decent after like 8 races or so in the car.
Okay, so Gage, let's talk about the story now. Where did your race car number come from?
I don't know. My dad's just had it since he started racing, so I just always had that number, I guess.
Okay, so Gage, where did your first, when did, okay, which track did you pick up your first win at?
Oh, I think my first win, which I haven't won a feature yet. I've won like 4 heat races. I think it was Stewart.
Okay, okay. So Gage, what do you have for sponsors on your race car?
Right now, John Burt, uh, my grandpa's company, Ham Construction, Executive Outdoor Solutions, Affordable Quality Roofing, and a few others.
Okay, are you still looking for sponsors for your racing team, Gage?
Probably, yeah.
So if there's anybody out here watching this racing show and want to help somebody out, reach out to Gage Hilgenberg and his dad because they'd appreciate the sponsorship on Gage's race car as he gets further into his racing career. So Gage, what is your favorite racetrack that you've raced on so far?
Probably Boone.
Okay, okay. So Gage, what is your home racetrack then?
Uh, we don't really have like a home racetrack. The track we probably go to the most is Boone.
Okay, why is Boone your favorite racetrack?
It's a little bit more banked than a few other racetracks. I feel like you get up more to speed.
Okay, okay. So Gage, with your racing career, when you're getting ready to get strapped into your race car and get ready to go on the track, what helps get you psyched up and motivated to go out and do this?
I just kind of sit there and I think just don't crash, race your own race. Don't worry about the other people.
Okay. So Gage, with your racing career, when you're at the racetrack and you're getting hungry, what's your favorite thing to eat at the racetrack?
Walking taco.
Oh, okay, very cool, very cool. So Gage, when you're away from the racetrack, what's your favorite thing? Where's your favorite restaurant to eat at?
Texas Roadhouse.
I get a lot of that lately, Texas Roadhouse. So Gage, when you're at home, what's your favorite home cooked meal that your family makes for you?
I don't really know. I have a lot of favorite foods. Probably steak.
Oh, very good choice, Gage. So, Gage, okay? Do you have some crazy stories you'd like to share with us about your racing career, like some wrecks and some really crazy finishes?
Well, I haven't really had that many wrecks, but I've had a few. But last year, I got uh I was at Stewart, and it was one of the biggest races of the year at Stewart. I've never won a race before. And then I won the first time feature winner race. And then the next night, I won the actual big race, which I have those over here. The big
Oh,
one's
very
conference
cool.
one, and then that pink one right there is the actual one. And then that's the Boom Rookie of the Year.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Gage, did you race in the Super Nationals this year?
Yeah.
How'd you do in the Super Nationals?
So I got fourth or third in the heat race, the first heat race I had, but we ended up getting deck height a little. Our deck height was wrong, so we had to fix that. And then I ran another heat race the next day, and I started in the back, so I didn't do too good in that one. But then I had a B feature that night, and I ended up winning the B feature.
Okay. Then how'd you do in the A feature?
Well, at Boone, the B features are for points. So,
Okay. Alrighty. So, Gage, do you have a racing nickname?
no, I don't think so.
That's one thing we got to work on for you is getting you a racing nickname. All the cool race car drivers and racing celebrities have. So, Gage, do you have any other crazy stories you'd like to share with us?
Um, well, I guess one of my it was probably my 10th or so race in. I was at Marshalltown, and I started getting used to running the high side there and stuff. And on the last corner in the feature, we ended up going 3 wide, and I was on the very high side. I was scraping the wall, and I ended up getting past those two cars.
Okay. Very crazy story. Very cool, also. Yeah. So, Gage, when it comes to your racing career, who's all on your racing crew?
My dad, my grandpa, and all the other people that come to my races.
Okay. So, Gage, where do you see yourself in 5 years with your racing career?
Uh, Hopefully in a modified or a late model or something.
How about in 10 years? Where do you want to be at?
Late model,
Late
super late
model.
model.
Okay. So, Gage, who are some of your friends at the racetrack?
Uh, my friend Jackson when he comes, and my friend Jaden when he comes.
Okay. What do your school friends think of you being a race car driver?
Huh?
What do your school friends think of you being a race car driver?
They think it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Which we have a small school, so not much. All they know, because we live right next to Knoxville, all they know is sprint cars. So,
Okay. So Gage, so I'm gonna do something pretty cool for you, Gage. I do this quite often with racing show guests. I'm gonna turn the mic over to you. You can ask me some questions now if you'd like.
all right. Uh, have you ever raced before?
I never have actually raced in competition. I did drive a go-kart at amusement park track, and I was tearing it up pretty good out there.
Oh, what's your favorite type of racing?
I love any type of racing. I love dirt track racing is my favorite, is my number one favorite. Then I like IndyCar, NASCAR, drag racing, sprint cars, the whole Magilla.
Who's your favorite dirt track driver?
Well, Gage, I'll tell you, out of the world of outlaws, I used to, when I was a kid, Gage, growing up about your age, there was a guy I followed quite a bit, and then I got to meet him in my upper 20s after he'd retired, but I happened to be at a track where he was at, and I just so happened to run into Doug Wolfgang, and I was like, that was pretty cool to sit down and talk to Doug Wolfgang, the world of outlaw sprint car driver from back in the day. He literally, when he would show up at Knoxville and he had a good car, he would literally kick Steve Kinser's hiney every week.
What's your favorite NASCAR driver right now?
Kyle Larson.
That's my dad's. I like Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney's really cool too. Ryan Blaney's really cool too.
Oh,
Who's your favorite carpet layer? Me.
Uh, did you play any sports like football or basketball?
I played basketball. I was a track athlete. I bowled. I did golf. I did tennis. And I would say that was about it. I covered those five sports pretty good. So yeah,
Nice.
I've I've been a racing fan for 30 years. So yeah,
Uh, I don't know any more questions.
I have one for you, Gage. Have you ever met any of the NASCAR drivers?
No, I have not met any NASCAR drivers. I haven't been to a NASCAR race before.
Ooh, I've got some. I've got five I've met. Gage, you want me to share with you who I've met?
Sure.
I have met Rusty Wallace, the 1989 NASCAR champion, his brother Kenny, and his brother Mike. I turned around and had got to meet Ken Schrader, and then I also got to meet Tony Stewart.
He did a little bit of dirt track too.
Oh yeah, yes. I like your sweatshirt, Gage.
This is the old one. This is my dad's mod and my go kart.
Okay,
We have different ones now.
I'd like to get one from you guys. Yeah. So Gage, definitely, and I'll tell you what, I've had some pretty unique guests on my racing show. A couple of years back, I had a guy that a family I met through the racing world, Gage. And I'll tell you what, it's going to totally get you psyched up. Do you ever watch the Indy 500 at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Back in 2011, there was a guy that won the Indy 500. Your grandpa probably knows who this is too. He had won two Indianapolis 500s plus an IZOD IndyCar championship. I was able to track down through the racing world, Gage, the legendary Dan Weldon's family, Oliver and Sebastian, his two boys, and his wife, Susie. Yeah. And I was able to sit down and talk to Oliver and Sebastian, his two boys.
Pretty cool.
And they're about your age, Gage, and they've got development deals already with Andretti Autosport, and they've got sponsors from Big Machine Records and Hot Wheels.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you know what happens when you win the Indy 500, Gage?
No.
Ooh, you win the Indy 500, Gage. You get a check all to yourself for $3.5 million.
Be nice.
Then you get a Diamond Championship, Indianapolis 500 Championship ring that only the winners get, and your crew gets them too, as being a part of your crew. Then on top of that, the announcer will say to you, Gage, do you know what one of the main sponsors of the Indy 500 is? And you'll pop up and you'll be like, I believe it's Chevrolet. And what happens is Gage, whatever the pace car is that year, and it's pretty much either a Camaro or a Corvette. So if it's either a Camaro or Corvette, you end up winning either a brand new Camaro or you'll end up winning a brand new Corvette of the deal on top of it. That'd be nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how fast your Indy cars go up to Indianapolis?
Isn't it like 300 or something?
240 miles an hour on an oval track.
It's
You're
pretty
literally
fast.
you're literally you're literally covering a football field a second, Gage. that's moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gage, do you have anybody else you'd like to thank for helping you get this far with your racing career?
All my sponsors, Cole Ferguson, because we got the chassis for free. Um, and anyone that's watched me along my whole racing career, anyone that's helped me.
And
That's
I'll tell
about
you
it.
what, Gage. Tell you what, Gage, for having you on the racing show with me tonight. You gained a new racing fan. I'm a racing fan of yours now. So Gage, so did I? Okay, here's the story. Do you know the story of how this racing show began?
No.
It all started with a guy from over in Paulina, Iowa. He raced sport mods and his son raced go-karts. And they shot me the idea back in the spring of 2018 and just said, let's see how this goes, Josh. You know, we want to see if you can do this or not. And I said, well, guys, I've never been on a camera a day in my life. This could be quite interesting. So we started out with 38 viewers on Facebook Live. A year and a half to 2 years later, Gage, when we left to go to YouTube, 2,000 some people throughout the United States and Canada knew who I was. And then it was just like, and then then what happened is a marketing team out of West Virginia picked me up. Their son races quarter midgets out there, which is kind of like a go-kart sprint car out there. And I had him on my racing show, their kid. And they said, Josh, you've got a lot of talent. We've seen what you got. We're opening our own marketing company up. We would like to know if you'd like to be one of our first clients. And I said, well, what's that going to take, guys? He says, well, here's how it's going to go. We will pay for all of your stuff for YouTube. You just have to cover the internet cost. And we'll take care of all the editing behind the scenes. And all you do is record it, and then we edit it, move it up to YouTube for you.
Pretty cool.
So, Gage, another thing, I have a racing nickname. The reason why I asked if you had a racing nickname is because mine's pretty cool, Gage. I am known as the Full Throttle rock star.
Where'd that come from?
That come from because when I started doing this racing show, I have a lot of energy I put into this. And it's just like I get really amped up to do this. And really, I'm the guy that created this racing show that initially created this. He's like, every cool racing person has to have a racing nickname. You have one? And I says, no. He says, well, you practiced a couple with us. Why don't we call you the Full Throttle Rockstar because you put a lot of energy into it. You have a lot of energy like a rock star does. Yeah. So Gage, who is your racing hero? Who is your guy that you follow that you want to be just like?
Well, it's my dad and Ricky Thornton.
Very cool, very cool, very cool. So Gage, do you have a racing page that racing fans can follow you on?
Yeah, Dad, what's the Facebook page? Yeah, Gage Hilgenberg Racing on Facebook.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you get time, go hit up Gage Hilgenberg Racing on Facebook because Gage would appreciate the follows and the new fans because I'll tell you what, this kid's going places with his racing career.
Thank you.
Yeah, so do you have any more questions for me, Gage?
Not on the top of my head, no.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for Gage for being on the racing show with me tonight. Talk to us about your racing career. I will let you step out and I will give a little racing news update and I will call you and thank you in person, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Gage Hilgenberg. IMCA Sport Mod driver. Definitely a kid you're going to definitely want to watch. He's got a lot going on and he's very talented. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, go hit up Gage Hilgenberg Racing on Facebook. Give him fan follows and stuff like that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a little racing news update for you. Racing news update, guys. Let's go with this here. Kyle Larson did pass his rookie test yesterday. So he's looking forward to trying to qualify for the Indy 500 next year and trying to do the double duty for the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Also, ladies and gentlemen, some other racing news out of this thing. Carson Hovassar is going to be driving the number 77 for Spires Racing going into next year. Also, ladies and gentlemen, definitely stay tuned because there's a lot of racing news going on there. Also, big news out of racing this week just come out today. Devil's Bowl Speedway is officially closing their doors as of this season. That track will no longer be around. That's going to be sad to see Devil's Bowl Speedway not around anymore. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our sponsors. Dirt Track Race Cars in Company. Go hit up Dirt Track Race Cars in Company and get all your racing die-cast needs. They have the 1/64 scale of Doug Wolfgang. He drove the 8D car of Doug Wolfgang. He drove in 1989 in 1/64 scale. Also, they have the Orange 8 car that he drove, ladies and gentlemen, that he drove in 1990 in 1/64 scale. Then they also have the 29 Weikert Livestock car that Doug Wolfgang drove in 1985 to the Knoxville Nationals Championship. And then they have the number 47 of Dave the Dude Lasowski, the Casey's General Store Gil Summers car that he drove in 1994. And then they have the 1NZ Nance Racing car that Sammy Swindell drove in 1982 in 1/64 scale also. So go hit up dirttrackracecars.com for all your racing diecast needs. Also, I'd like to thank Manning Motorsports for sponsoring this racing show, and also New England Vehicle Association / Walking with Whalen. And if you would like to sponsor my racing show or sponsor the racing show or be on the racing show, feel free to call or text me at 712-209-7138, or you can email me at jjnolan151@gmail.com. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good day. Catch you later. Another episode of the Josh Nolan and Oliver Schultz Full Throttle Racing Show #1 on YouTube, and continue living life at full throttle.